Next up, we have Dennis and Derek from Cognigy. So I see both of you guys here. If you guys could turn on your cameras and your mics, we can begin. And once again, thank you, Vittorio, for being part of it. I always enjoy talking with you. And yeah, thanks for being a part of it.
It was great, Stefan and Dustin. It was great seeing you.
Yeah, likewise. We need to catch up off camera soon.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye.
Dennis, it's very nice to have you on. My name's Stefan. We have Dustin, and, Jason, and Yaki here. You could tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you guys are working on and about Cognigy.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen, first of all, I love the transition to a virtual environment like this. Obviously, when we were planning to do this in person, I stepped in a little earlier today, heard a couple of the different chats, and I think this is coming off pretty well. Hopefully, the attendees feel the same way. And, we had actually put together a presentation that we would scale back, for this type of this type of a venue. And I was wondering if perhaps I might be able to. Would it be okay if we step through a couple of slides first,
Absolutely,
and then opened it up for some conversation?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see if I can open this up here. I did put. I loaded them up on the system. So if I didn't do it correctly, you'll have to forgive me.
No.
Actually, let's do this. Let's do this and open this one. This might be easier. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so listen, we're here for the next couple of minutes to chat about RPA and conversational AI, basically putting together two technologies that most companies don't think about putting together, but that is quickly changing, particularly given the environment that we find ourselves in today, literally today, working remotely. For the benefit of, and I'm sure you four guys know all about RPA. I'm certain you've heard about it. Maybe there are some folks on the, in today's session that might not be familiar with RPA. I'm just going to take a couple of seconds to introduce RPA, then conversational AI, and then talk about why these two technologies are truly perfect companions for each other. Right. So basically, RPA, RPA is being deployed everywhere today. It's probably the most hyped technology in the marketplace today, and has been for a long time. You've got major players like Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath, Kofax, and a number of other players that are out there trying to drive automation into back office systems. And it's about, it's a tremendous technology if and when it works, and when companies are able to identify specific business processes that would benefit from it to drive out a lot of manual and repetitive touch points. Now, conversational AI, on the other hand, is really referencing the use of messaging apps, speech-based assistants, chatbots, to basically automate human-like communication to create personalized customer experience. And the real key part of conversational AI, that these personalized customer experiences at scale. I heard you guys chatting a little bit about Raza a little earlier, about NLU, NLP, and it's those types of technologies that really add a lot of value into that humanistic communication, that interaction between customers and companies. So why are these two perfect companions? If you take a step back and you look at what RPA is doing and is intended to do, it's really intended to drive out manual touch points and all the manual parts of a business process, so that it will automatically execute. Now that's great if you have back office applications, but the real key to driving the value of an investment in an RPA-like technology is to bridge that gap between that business process and the constituents, who are typically customers, business partners, and employees that would access and use that business process. An example might be something as simple as somebody, and we have actually a video that, if time permits, we would like to share with everybody, where you're opening up a loan. you're on a website or you're on a web chat and you're entering in, you're maybe taking a picture of your license, and that information is getting fed into a system. You're entering in your social security number, your phone number, and automatically an RPA process kicks off in the back while the customer is filling out other information. It comes back with the information to the customer, telling them, hey, you scored an 800 on your credit. You get an extra special interest rate on this loan that you're applying for. So this is where bridging that gap between a process that was automated in the background, just taking a simple couple of bits of information and creating a credit check, and then coming back and communicating it to the customer is a perfect example of where you have conversational AI meeting RPA and really driving a lot of value, a user experience for the customer. But more importantly, you're driving a significant cost savings for the company. Right? When you have these two technologies put together, you're enabling companies to be able to scale to the demands of customers and users. Right? In the absence of technology like this, what do you have? You're basically throwing people at it. You have a contact center or a call center that enables, that will be able to only scale with the number of people that they have responding and receiving those calls. Does this make sense to you guys? And is this in line? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, can you mind if I intertwine with a question in the meantime?
Just go ahead.
So you had me kind of at the cost savings part. That's just kind of when my ears really start to open up. What have you guys seen? Like, what are the numbers that these bigger companies are really looking at? How are they cost saving? So we've seen from a call center perspective, clients looking at an average cost is like $1 a minute. The average time is around 5 to 7 minutes, which is a significant impact if you're able to automate that with the bot. But and do you have any particular case studies or examples of like cost savings? What kind of ROI should these companies be really looking at?
You must have been looking at my slides. Either that or you have a little, you can see into the future. I have a use case right here, Dustin. This is one of our customers called Urag Insurance, and they're an insurance company based in Germany, which is where Cognigy was founded 4 years ago, and they've been on our software. They've been using our solution for probably 2 years now. Now, what Urag does is that the line of insurance that they deliver to their customers is something you could never get away with here in the United States. They sell insurance against traffic violations and speeding tickets. And I know for one, I'd be their worst customer. They would discontinue the insurance. Right? So, but in Germany, they get away with it. Maybe because they have this thing called the Autobahn. And they figured that they're never going to have to worry about speeding tickets. Having said that, what these guys did, the way you would file a claim with Urag prior to bringing Cognigy and one of our good technology partners called Kofax to help them resolve this issue, what they wanted to do was drive the cost of processing their claims down significantly. Right? Prior to bringing Cognigy in, the way you would file a claim is you would pick up the phone, you'd call in and say, hey, I've got this, and you have a call center person on the other side, a claims specialist, that would not only provide you with certain legal advice and legal guidance on what you do with that, but they would also take the information off your violation and manually put it into the claims system. Mm-hmm. Another way that they would do it is they'd make a copy of it and snail mail it in, or they'd make a PDF and email it in. But in every one of those cases, an Urag claim specialist had to touch that claim. Right. So what happens is the cost of it is significant because you have a person touching it. Secondly, there are transposition errors. Right. It's going to happen, particularly if you have a high volume of it, because you don't get the level of consistency with a person that you might with software. And it took a while. Right? You'd have to wait online because it's Germany, and you can only call between 9 and 5 Monday to Friday. Otherwise, you're out of luck. So what they really wanted to do was get get to a solution where they could put the customer in charge of serving themselves. They could do it 24/7, and they could drive the cost of that down by not having people touch it. And they could do it basically in a frictionless like environment. And what they wound up putting in place, let's see if I can get this to move forward. Yep, okay. So what Orog did with one of our very, very insightful, very thoughtful partners, they brought our technology in with Kofax, which is an OC, they're best known for their OCR, but they also have a very robust BPM and RPA solution as well as their OCR technologies. And combining the Cognigy conversational front end with the Kofax OCR and RPA in the background, what an Orog customer does now is they take a PDF and they drop it into the conversation panel. OCR, Kofax scrapes the relevant information off of the violation, posts it into the claim system. The claim system executes a BPM and RPA process in the background that executes that claim to completion. No issues, no problems. The customer is then ACH the money into their bank account, and they have a completely frictionless environment. So what they've done is they've taken that whole process from where it was a very person-intensive process to a complete frictionless process, right? So Dustin, back to your question about, what are we seeing in terms of ROI or cost reduction with something like this? They've taken out over 70% of the cost of processing a claim by implementing these two technologies. And what's more is they've driven the user experience through the roof. As painful as it is getting a speeding ticket or traffic violation there, they've taken a little bit of the sting out of it by processing the claim through this process. So yeah. Terrific use case where the guy that and basically it's available on the phone. So 24/7 anywhere. They could do it sitting on the couch in the kitchen. They do it on the PC, whatever. The guy that runs document management for Orog has basically gone on print to say that they basically bridge that gap between the systems that they've got automated in the back and the customers, allowing them a best in class self-serve type of environment, and for them it's been just one example of many that we have within our customer base, whereby not just the conversation technology in and of itself delivers tremendous value, but when you combine it with other applications like RPA or OCR, BPM, it really takes on a new life, because what you're doing is these things change the world, right? Our mobile phones, they put the world in our hand, and we have all, even for the most technically incompetent like yours truly, I can still, all the
you got your camera working.
Can you see me still?
Yeah.
That's a surprise, by the way. It usually doesn't happen that way. Even I can serve myself with some of these things. So by it really, the conversational technologies that today more than ever. Look at how we're doing this conference. We're all remote, and maybe Derek, you might be able to talk a little bit about one of our customers, one of our large insurance customers that brought us in for a roadside assistant bot, but now has taken it and extended it throughout the entire organization. Are you there, Derek? Are you still on mute?
So while Derek's coming in, this is a great case study, and I love going from one point to having kind of no friction, no touch. I love that analogy. But there's a bit of a middle ground in between. It's hard to go from zero to frictionless. And what a lot of companies I've seen overlook is even if you get just 10% of that touch reduced, and then 20%, and then 30, 40, and eventually work your way up, and you continue to learn and build out the experience, you're still having a significant impact over time. What have you seen as far as like those stages, like from not implementing too much, because too much can be overkill. Like there's times where we at Bot Copy, we often use the term hand off the baton to human. And there's quite a bit of cost savings actually on handing it off to the right human and making sure that experience is good on both ends. Like it's not an enjoyable experience on the consumer side to sit on the other end of a line, give your social security number, and then wait on hold, and then have to do the exact same thing. And then from a business standpoint, that's pretty shitty as well, because now you've just had two employees touch with the exact same thing. It's just like an overlapping waste of time. But how do we get there? Because it doesn't happen overnight, and we've seen projects take years, 2 years. Is there a strategy that you've seen for lowest touch points to most effective, or what's that look like?
Yeah, Dustin, great question. I really think it depends on the use case and the company and how they're willing to adopt to this. We have a very, very, not that all of our customers, in fact, we cross 20 different industries, but these two that I happen to be talking to you about happen to be two insurance companies. And insurance companies and banks, financial institutions benefit most from these types of investments simply because they have what I like to call a one-to-many ratio. There's one company and they have many customers, all right? Hundreds of thousands, millions of customers that they have to service. And the way that they have been servicing them in the past has been a very, very high cost way of doing it. By adopting, and this is an asset market that's growing exponentially, and I think what we're going through right now with the shelter in place, the remote work, it will do nothing but accelerate the adoption of this type of technology. Because here's a perfect example. One of our the other insurance company I want to talk about, very, very large, I can't name their name, but you know them, they've got a cute little reptile as their mascot. They started us with a roadside assistant experiment that they wanted to bring in a voice interaction, have our NLP and our conversation platform provide the intelligence for that roadside assistant. As they got to become more familiar with it, they started to look and think, well, wait a second. And by the way, at our suggestion too, this can do a lot more than what you're looking at doing. How about looking at different parts of your website? You have an app. How about putting it on your app? And they started to slowly but surely, there's Derek. They started in one area and then they gain confidence in it. And really with newer technology, it's all about confidence. It's all about finding small successes, building from there and building on that and learning as you go. And that was exactly the case with this customer. And now they have it. Now, this is an old school company. They've got 35, 40,000 employees. And this was, when I say old school, they showed up in the office every day. Right? There was none of this work from home, work remotely stuff. You show up. Well, guess what? The shelter in place, they've got 35,000 employees that they now have dispersed to 35,000 different locations now that their IT ops team has to support. And these are people that, okay, first they had to get them scaled up, and do they have the equipment at home to be able to work from home? The connections to secure assistance from home. Hey, I got a problem with my printer. All these things that were in the office that were never a problem. Their help desk was about to explode. They saw this fall coming down right towards them. It was a tsunami. So they started to create bots, and literally within a week, they had these employee bots built and directed on their website, on their internal website, for employees with questions about any IT issues, any IT problems. You want to open up an IT help desk. On our weekly status calls, and by the way, we had no idea they were doing this. They told us after the fact. So they came back and they said, hey, listen, let us share with you what we just completed over the last week. And they told us about the employee bot that they put in place. And they flat out just said, guys, you saved our grass. I mean, we would not have been able to make this transition without having your technology in place. And they would not have done this had they not had the confidence that they gained from using it in some of these other projects where they saw the capability, and then they saw okay, yeah, I can apply it here. I can apply it to IT ops. I can put a self-service mode into our employees. And the next would be, hey, what about human resources? We can give the access to human resources and allow the employees to start updating and conversing with their HR databases in a human-like manner, and allow the HR team to scale in a similar fashion. So hopefully that gives you an idea and answers your question about, how do people go from zero to success. And it really is just starting out with a small project, building from there, gaining confidence, seeing how it works, getting familiar with it, realizing that it is easier than most systems. And that's one of the things we pride ourselves at Cognigy, that this is a low-code environment that business users can actually build, maintain conversations, yet it is very, very, very deep technically, that also appeals to the development team, that they wanted to work some magic with integrations with systems of record and build some other custom automations through the use of the platform.
I have a question, Dennis. Hey.
Please.
Nice to meet you, first of all. It's about the previous slide, actually. The conversational AI, and I think the one about the when you scan the document, the previous one. Which one? Before.
This guy here?
That's it. So I guess my question is, why, as I'm a conversation designer, I come from a conversation design background and screenwriting, they're sending in the form, the claim. What is the need or the use, or what is the value here of having conversational AI, of having a conversation with this user? Why not just have them send in the form and then give them a verification that the form was sent in? What is the value here of having a conversation with the user?
Well, and Derek, you can feel free to add to this, but clearly one of the services that are delivered with this is some legal advice and guidance. Hey, I got this traffic ticket in this prefecture or I don't think they have prefectures, but this district in Germany. What are my legal rights? How can I potentially contest this? So they're having a conversation, and they're providing support, and they're providing insight to the customer while they're about their specific claim. And then for the sake of just ease of, hey, let's process the claim right now, drag and drop it in. You're solving that. You're addressing that and communicating with that customer right then and there.
And are you the legal information? Where is that being sourced? Is that from like the legal department? I mean, are you giving legal advice to people? I mean, is that something that is concerning to them, or they're willing to accept? How are users? How do they feel about getting legal advice from?
It's part of the service, no?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. It's part of the service that they offer. They're not as litigious. They're not as litigious in Germany as we are here in the U.S. So I understand where you're coming from with your question.
Dennis,
I was gonna just
Derek, go ahead.
Yeah, quick question. So, are these pre-built solutions that come out of the box that just need to be connected to enterprise software and integrated with them, or do they have to be developed from scratch or mostly from scratch, depending on the unique needs and use case of your client?
Yeah, I'll start it and Derek will finish it as we normally do here.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Both. Okay. We do have some out-of-the-box intents that are preloaded, but frankly, when you're working with companies that particularly in contact centers, call centers, you know what? They pretty much know the types of questions and the types of questions that get them, they're able to load those in very easily and upload those questions into our NLP NLU. So we do provide some out of the box, but more often than not, but every single company is different. Every insurance company, even if it's property casualty, right. They're going to handle their claim differently than let's say I don't know, Allstate's going to handle it differently than Farmers Insurance. Okay. And so they know how they're going to respond to those, and chances are they have those documented somewhere along the line. which makes it easier for us to upload those types of dialogues, those types of intents into the Cognigy system to get them jump started. And then it becomes, the domain of learning about the dialogues, learning about the intents, training the intents, and that sort of stuff. How did I do on that one, Derek?
Excellent. I was going to say a couple more things just from a technical point of view, is that what we do have out of the box is two things. One is we have connectors to all of the major RPA and automation vendors, including Kofax, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, and UiPath.
Okay.
And so we have those components out of the box. The other thing is that a unique aspect of kind of what we offer through our system is a extensible web chat client. And some of the extensions that we have pre-built are designed to support process automation scenarios. So we have the image capture that helps you capture IDs or pay stubs or whatever that's built into our out-of-the-box web chat client. We have an e-signature capability built into the web chat client. So a lot of the plugins for our web chat client are designed to fit into BPM or RPA scenarios. And maybe, as we're kind of getting here, and also responding to a question Laura had about RPA versus a transactional chatbot, and also speaking to the question earlier about ROI, one thing that we, on the technology side in this business, have challenges wrapping our heads around is that not everything has a REST API, even though it should. And so a lot of the challenges companies are facing are document-centric processes. That's what ORAG had. Your speeding ticket is not, sent to you in a text message. It's a piece of paper still. Insurance companies also have very document-centric processes kind of across the board. We're dealing with applications that might have SOAP-based services. Probably most of them do. But even so, a lot of them don't. The other thing, that RPA solves for is a lot of work is being done in spreadsheets. So to Laura's question about transactional versus RPA lets you automate things that were not originally designed to be automated. And traditionally, as Dennis was saying, that's a lot of back office stuff like accounts payable, tax, kind of a lot of the CFO umbrella kind of functions. And what we do is kind of provide a conversational interface to that. So when we go in together with RPA companies to present to clients and to build solutions, the ROI is not just the traditional call deflection metrics that you're going to get through a chatbot. It's the combination of kind of the improved customer experience you get by keeping people in a self-service channel with the addition of automation technologies like OCR, RPA, that bring even more efficiencies to existing processes that all have human touch. And when I see TJ Godel, shout outs to you on the chats there, I completely agree that business process management, it's tied in the back office. So we want to expose that to customers. And that's why we kind of tout our ORAG case study, because it's a great example of bridging the gap between back-end processes and a consumer experience. I think the last point I'll have is your thing about isn't this just a great big web form? That is a challenge we put to our customers of basically saying, don't just build out a web form in a chatbot. You really need to think about what value you're delivering to your customers. And as Dennis said, you can't ask questions to a web form. Or if someone starts off on a chatbot and you say, here's a link to a web form, and they go over to the web form, then they have questions. Then you're creating this disjointed customer experience, which can drive people to a contact center. So by having kind of a unified experience in chat, you can let a user through natural language talk to your backend systems, provide information, feed these into RPA and BPM systems.
Got it. Yeah.
Derek, you forgot the most important thing, and that is that you have an automatic connector to all the components in the Cocoa Hub.
I'm sure that's on our roadmap.
No, it's there.
It's already there.
It's there. And you get your back informed.
Okay, great.
They must be talking with Philip.
Exactly.
I want to ask the attendees, if you guys have any last questions, please ask them now. We're going to go with one or two more questions. One of mine is when you guys talk to companies, is there ever a question of whether they should do this sort of use case internally, or whether they should use a technology like you guys or someone else? Like, how do companies make that decision, and how can you make it easy on them?
Yeah, Howard, that's a great question. Thanks, because that's exactly why companies will select Cognigy, because they've made the mistake of trying to do this internally. They tried to develop this internally. What they found is they can't. That's not their core competence. It's not what they're in business to do. That's what we're in business to do, and we're in business to build a platform that enables companies to expand exponentially, to be able to provide a solution that the business users can take and maintain, versus having it always to sit in development and being the maintenance caregivers of the creation that they built. Our best customers, the large 35,000 employee customer that I was mentioning before, was one of these where they tried to do it internally themselves, and you know what? They found that we shouldn't be doing this. It's not in our core competence. We talked to other companies where they've done the exact same thing. So frankly, I hate to say it, but some of our best customers are those that have learned the hard way, that have tried to go down this path to build it themselves. Now, there are certain things politically and financially that may have, there may have been commitments made to, certain NLUs, NLPs, or certain investments in technology that, regardless, they can't be undone. What the Cognigy platform does is enables those organizations to plug and play. We're a completely Docker-based, service-based developed solution, right? That enables us, open architected, that we can plug and play pieces and parts in our platform. So if somebody has made, let's say, a significant investment in Raza, and they can't, for political reasons or for, frankly, the functional reasons that Raza may be delivering to the company, they can plug Raza into our NLU and use all of the other pieces and parts around our platform to perform. Now, we happen to deliver an excellent NLU that our customer says is on par and works as well as anybody else's out there. But the benefit of Cognigy is that you can preserve some of those investments that you just can't unplug, and continue to use them, get your money's worth out of them, but continue to grow and expand in the organization with the Cognigy platform.
I see. So one of our attendees says, true internal is a disaster. So last question, why is internal a disaster? Where does that failure happen so severely? Is it on the NLP side? Are they thinking about it the wrong way? Is it a design? Is it a framework or a mental model issue? Like, at what point is the cart fall off the cliff?
Yeah. I'll give you the easy answer, and then I'll leave Derek with the tough answer for you. Okay. Yes, all of the above.
Okay.
I will just briefly say, if we're kind of talking about internally developed solutions, we see two pitfalls that companies fall into. One is a lot of times that the skill sets that are applied to looking at conversational AI within an organization are often removed from the business problems that need to be solved. So when we talk to organizations who have done a lot internally, we see sometimes projects don't really have a lot of real world application, and that's because the people we're talking to aren't the people who are experiencing the pain.
I see.
They're very interesting and smart data scientists who are kind of thinking about conversational AI and how it can work, but a lot of times it's trapped in kind of a more innovation and almost academic part of organizations rather than serving the business unit. So that's kind of one thing that we see. The other thing that we see for internally developed solutions is they're people who are closer to the pain. So they are people who are creating production-ready solutions for the business, but everything becomes a one-off. There's no platform. So as soon as you want to move it to another organization, there's more development work that needs to happen, and IT starts becoming the bottleneck for any kind of solution that has to be built. A lot of times it's IT that comes to us who says we need a platform that we can standardize on across the organization.
It's not coherent. It's like discombobulated. All right.
Exactly.
Well, if what's the best way to keep in touch with you guys and to follow up if the attendees have any questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, I was going to say, please go to cognigy.com. There's Dennis's email. I'll put my email in there as well. You can sign up for a free trial now if you want to learn about the product. Go to our documentation site and find me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
If you guys want to see a really cool video too, I'll put this in the chat, and you guys can do that. And look at that. It's a combination. It's basically a new loan capability where we're using OCR, RPA. A customer is basically getting a new getting a loan approval, and it's essentially a replication of what we've done here with the use case I described with the insurance claim. Closely associated with it.
Yeah, guys, please check out the link. And then thank you so much for being a part of this, Dennis.
Hey, thank you, guys. It's great to see your face again, Stefan.
Thank you. Hopefully next time it'll be in person.
Exactly.